What up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We're on Dennis Street in Campbellville. We just took a walk down Conversation Tree Road. We just came down from the seawall area, Conversation Tree Road. We're showing that there's a new surface on Conversation Tree Road. That surface extends all the way to Delhi Street, all the way beside Delhi Street down to Dennis Street. Now this is Dennis Street, as I said in the previous video. Dennis Street continues all the way past Eugene to Turkine, right? But this part of Dennis Street is now being reconstructed or paved. This is, I think that's Belleair Street in Lamaha Gardens, right? We've done a walk down Belleair Street in Lamaha Gardens in the previous video. And we did a walk down the paved section of Lamaha Street. This street, which we're now on, is Dennis Street. It becomes Lamaha Street at Middleton Street. So those of you who want to follow by using Google Maps, you can type in Dennis Street. Now they have started to work on Dennis Street. As you can see, the earth-moving vehicles are still out. But what they did so far is they've built a retaining wall. This is the retaining wall. Let me see if I can show you it from a different angle. So they've built a retaining wall all the way to Lamaha Street. This is a culvert. This is also recently built. I think a few months ago, this was not here. The time before the last I was here, they were building this new culvert. But as you can see, they built this retaining wall, which is very good. That now allows them to build up the street and to put a paved surface on it that's not going to wash away with the rains. These are expensive roadworks. If they're done properly, they should last a lifetime, meaning 100 years. However, if they're done poorly, then they're going to have to be redone again and again and again, which is a waste of money. But this is where we are right now. Dennis Street is now being resurfaced, and I'm giving you a look at it now so that when I come back in future and take a walk down Dennis Street in Campbellville, you can see the difference. You'll be able to go back to previous video like this one and see the difference. So that's Campbellville. We've seen actually that building is the tallest residential building in Campbellville. We've seen that in the previous video. That used to be owned by Buddy Shivraj. I think it was purchased and completed by another owner. But this is where we are now on Dennis Street. This street goes across, Dennis Street that is, runs east-west and goes across Sheriff Street and continues all the way to Middleton Street, where it becomes Lamaha Street. And I've shown you Lamaha Street, the completion of Lamaha Street in the previous video. So if you want to see the west end of Dennis Street in Campbellville, you can take a look at that previous video. So like I said, Dennis Street continues east all the way to Turkine, past Sophia, and runs outside of the University of Ghana campus at Turkine, the south end of the campus. So this would be an important street to connect this city with the campus. And if they had a train, as I said at the end of that last video, if they had put a train line, a light rail, that runs along Dennis Street, connects downtown Georgetown with those neighborhoods, Sophia and Turkine, this would be a very convenient way to commute to the city. Commute from the city to the campus, university campus. And I explained that I have known such an arrangement. I actually went to school at Stony Brook on Long Island, and they had a train station on campus, so that the Long Island Railroad had a train station at Stony Brook. Probably still do have that train station. The last stop on that North Shore line was Port Jefferson. So you could take the train from Penn Station to Port Jefferson, but the penultimate stop, the second to last stop, was at Stony Brook. And what that meant is that you could hop on a train from campus. In other words, you could, any day of the week, and especially on weekends, hop on the Long Island Railroad from campus and go all the way to Brooklyn, Queens. You know, the train had to stop at Jamaica Station in Queens. Of course, there were stops along the way. Huntington was a major stop. So you could sometimes train change from the, back in those days, we're talking about the 1990s now when I was on campus at Long Island. So back in those days, there was a diesel engine that took the trains from Port Jefferson to Huntington. And you could change trains at Huntington, sometimes at Hicksville, but most usually at Huntington. You get onto an electric train. It takes you all the way to downtown Manhattan, stopping at Penn Station. But there was a stop at Jamaica Station and another stop at Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. So you could get to Queens or Brooklyn or Manhattan from the campus at Stony Brook. And you can go down to Manhattan on the weekends and be back on campus on Monday morning, just taking the train. I think it was like $6, $7 if you were a student, $9 if you were not a student. But that's it, guys. I'm just still suggesting that we need trains, and Dennis Street. This is Dennis Street. We just walked along Dennis Street. Would be a good route to put a train line connecting Tarkine and downtown Georgetown. We're back at Sheriff Street. This is Sheriff Street in Campbellville. Right, that's Sheriff Street. Still buildings being constructed here. Somebody's still working on a tall building. This used to be a 3-story building. Somebody's added 3 floors to that building. And you can see there are taller buildings. I've actually described Sheriff Street in terms of its similarity to Queens Boulevard in Queens, but this is what's happening here. I understand at the top of this building was supposed to be a revolving restaurant. It's never been completed. But this is what's happening on Sheriff Street. Sheriff Street in Campbellville. But we're continuing here on morning. Continuing here on Dennis Street. These guys are building the road now. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. These guys are constructing the road here. Dennis Street. All right, so this is what's happening here on Dennis Street. On the west side of Sheriff Street, the construction of a road surface continues. In a few months, we'll probably be able to see what this street looks like. Last time we were actually on this street, they had mountains of sand, red sand, this sort of clay sand. Now it's been covered with white sand and some rock chips. They've completed the retaining wall. All right, this is the retaining wall on Dennis Street. On the other side, I think that's called Dury Lane. The street on the other side is Dury Lane. But this is Dennis Street, continuing from where we started at Conversation Tree Road. They have now smoothed out the mountains of sand that were here the last time we were here, about 6 months ago. And now they're adding the surface. As you can see, they're building a concrete surface at the intersection with Sheriff Street and Dennis Street. So this is what Dennis Street in Campbellville looks like. Now section K, Campbellville and Newtown on the south side. So that's Newtown in section K, Campbellville on the south side. So here we go. This is the red sand and red clay sand that was here the last time we came, but it was in mountains. So this is what they've done since the last time we were here 6 months ago. They've completed the retaining wall. They have smoothed out the surface of this new road. The new surface of this old road. Old road is Dennis Street. And they're now starting to build the final surface out of concrete. Now Dennis Street becomes this little guy stopping to say good morning to us. So Dennis Street becomes Lamaha Street at Middleton Street. We're approaching Middleton Street. We're going to end this video. If you want to see further, so this is some of the construction that's happening here on Dennis Street. New homes are being built all along. These are private homes, of course, all along Dennis Street. It's also a commercial street now, so there's commercial and residential properties being constructed here. But like I said, Dennis Street is now being resurfaced and completed up to Middleton Street, which is where Dennis Street becomes Lamaha Street. As I said, last time we were here, there were mountains of sand, such as this clay sand on the streets. They've smoothed out most of that sand, but apparently they're still building it up, and so some of this sand is still out here. But yes, guys, come to the end of this video, and again, I said these videos are meant to chronicle the development in Guyana post oil and gas. In other words, oil and gas is what is paying for all of this development. People who want to politicize it, want to ignore the fact that none of this would be possible without the oil contract. And the same people who railed against the previous government, criticized the oil contract. It's a 2% contract. They gave away Guyana's oil. Those same people don't see the connection between that contract and these infrastructure programs that are being run in the country. But this is, like I said, is a channel for intelligent people, and intelligence will always win. Across over, this is Middleton Street, looking back at Dennis Street. Last time we walked on Lamaha Street, they hadn't yet put the lines on the roads, but now they have. So you can see there road markings, double yellow lines, and signs now on Lamaha Street. Lamaha Street, we walked along Lamaha Street in the past video, so there's no need to show you that again. What they had done is built a retaining wall and a drain. This drain doesn't have a cover, of course, kind of interesting because the drain covers are sidewalks now in Guyana. So this street doesn't have a drain cover, therefore it doesn't have a sidewalk. But this is Lamaha Street, continues all the way to Vlissingen Road. We showed you that in previous video. What's different now from last week, or the last time I posted a video on Lamaha Street, is that now there are lines on the road, there are road markings. And some people are claiming that it wasn't completed. Well, I don't know when it's going to be completed. Some people are saying that it should be guardrails on this side of the road. Well, I don't know if they're going to build guardrails. What I know is that from time to time I will bring you an update, and if they do install guardrails, we will see in future. So it's not a point of criticism, it's just an update on the state of things, the state of construction on Lamaha Street and Dennis Street on, what is it, Sunday morning, Sunday the 22nd of September 2024. But that's it, guys. That's what's up. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. We said that is on the north side of Lamaha Street. That's Kitty. Right, that's Kitty. And on the south side, that's Newtown. And now Lamaha Street has been resurfaced and there are lines on the street. There's even a pedestrian crossing way up ahead. But that's what's it. That's what's up. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Blue martini bar here at this intersection. Let people know what's happening in the fastest growing country, the fastest growing economy in the world. 50% growth per annum. Guyana. Later!